The NASCAR All-Star Race is a standalone event created in 1985 by a man named T. Wayne Robertson in conjunction with Winston to give the fans an entertainment product that got away from the grueling schedule with points and a championship at stake each week. It was started in NASCAR's backyard at Charlotte Motor Speedway and had intentions of rotating locations, which brought it to Atlanta the next year. The race was lackluster, however, and it went back to Charlotte and stayed there until just 2020. It's had some iconic moments over the years and memorable finishes, but there was one in particular that saw nothing of this level: Mother Nature striking in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's May 19th, 2001 in Concord, North Carolina on a balmy late spring evening. The crowd has filed in droves as they always did back then, and the buzz and anticipation is building. But before we get into the All-Star race itself, let's start with the Winston Open. The Open is a short sprint race preceding the main event consisting of all the drivers that didn't qualify for the All-Star race. It's either young guys trying to make a name for themselves, old veterans that are in long winless droughts, or just coming back for the hell of it, and basically anyone that doesn't have a win in the last 2 years plus. In 2001, the format was 2 segments with a winner of each advancing. At the green flag, the skies were somewhat cloudy with the sun peeking through. Part-time rookie and Indiana sensation Ryan Newman scorched the field from the jump and looked to have it all wrapped up before suddenly blowing his engine in the closing laps, handing the win to Johnny Benson. The remaining last-ditch sprint was won by Todd Bodine, advancing them both to the main event. So the stage was set for another possible encapsulating feature that would go down in the history books in the Winston, with a star-studded lineup and a glamorous driver intro sequence. And that would happen, just not the way anyone imagined. Little do the 150,000 plus fans know, scattered showers and thunderstorms are trucking through the Carolinas, and one is headed right for them. As the pickup trucks parade the drivers down pit road, waving to the crowd, periodic raindrops can be seen on camera, but that's being overshadowed by the hype and festivities preparing the race. On NASCAR broadcasts, they avoid talking about the weather as much as possible so viewers aren't scared off. Nothing wrong with that, it's just business. But as driver intros ensue, the sky starts lighting up around the facility, and not with a laser light show. The scene of the fans trekking towards the concourse by the hundreds is an ominous one, signaling that rain is indeed falling. The pre-race ceremonies have come and gone, the drivers are in their cars and the engines fired, and the pace laps are underway. The dazzling paint schemes are popping off the stadium lights and flashbulbs are peppering the grandstands. The pace car peels off into pit road, turning the field loose on the 1.5-mile quad oval to get the 2001 Winston underway, and the crowd goes wild. There's just one problem though. All the light rain from driver intros accumulated enough to cause the track to lose grip, and the skies have suddenly opened up in turns 1 and 2, right where the field was barreling into at around 160 miles per hour. This is the result.
It's the green flag. And Steve Park, boy, real loose on the start, almost spun.
A bunch of guys did. Jeff Burton got in the back of Tony Stewart and turned him sideways. Oh, car's sideways. All the cars are loose down in the corner. The track is wet. It's Gordon, Michael Walter, Kevin 29 car. All these cars are wrecking because I believe it might be raining down there.
Suddenly, a night that was built up like a massive hot air balloon taking off into the clouds was deflated, and several cars became junk within seconds, including current 3-time champ Jeff Gordon. He climbed from his smashed race car in the turn 2 grass, and his night appeared to be done. The optics of this was obviously a nightmare, and NASCAR was left scrambling for a solution to this calamity. How could they give the field the green light to commence going 190 miles per hour into a wet track and have their expensive cars taken out not even half a lap into the race? Well, the consensus from all the drivers is that the track looked good enough to them to race on, and there was no complaint to officials for commencing the start. It's clear everyone was blindly optimistic about the event and badly wanted it to start at its scheduled time given all the hoopla about it. Plus, the sudden downpour made matters worse, which just so happened to arrive as the field was on the other side of the track getting ready to take the green. Since the event had no points on the line, NASCAR made an unprecedented decision to let the victims of the accident unload the haulers and bring out their backup cars, and the garage area promptly became a war zone. Frantic mechanical procedures began to take place, and Jeff Burton's team even decided to change engines. It easily became the buzz of the rain delay.
A lot of work to do. Our backup car is a really good car. It's won a bunch of races in the past, but it's got a really old engine in it. So for us to be competitive, we're going to change engines. And if we can't get out in time, then we just won't get out. But we're not going to go if we can't be competitive. So we're working and changing engines. We're going to recruit every bit of help we can get, and we're going to try to get it done.
Sean Parker from Mark Martin's team, and a lot of the different, there's Frank Stoddard, the crew chief, and a lot of the different folks from Roush Racing trying to get this done.
Yeah, they can change that engine in about 45 minutes, an hour max, and it's going to take that long to drive the racetrack. So I think they're going to be fine.
Right about 4 minutes into this engine change on the 99 of Jeff Burton, and all his uniforms are Roush Racing working there. They'll get that car up on stands and get everything unhooked and get it out. Darrell.
They did it in 34 minutes. Of the remaining backup cars, Jeff Gordon, Michael Waltrip, and rookie Kevin Harvick were all slated to return to the race, but not without urgency. Harvick was scheduled to start a Busch Series race in Nazareth, Pennsylvania the next morning, and in contention for the season-long championship. The RCR team was forced to weigh their options on what to do if the night got too much longer. Gordon thought highly of his primary car as it was brand new and had a lot of horsepower. He also dropped this quote.
You know, who knows? Maybe we can go out there and win with the backup. Wouldn't that be a story?
Dale Earnhardt Jr., Tony Stewart, and Bobby Labonte all took a pace car ride around the track to fill out the surface. The crowd's spirits weren't dampened, and everyone found a way to occupy time during the lengthy, frustrating delay. They made an initial attempt to restart with everyone remaining in their original starting spots, with the backup cars obviously starting in the rear, but rain would soon start speeding again, putting the Saturday night spectacle in grave danger. Yes, the race could have been run the next day, but this event just doesn't have the same appeal to it in the daytime. It was a last resort. The FX broadcast certainly held up their end of the deal by keeping the fans at home tuned in, and things got a little wet in the Hollywood Hotel.
It's really kind of a...
What's that music, by the way? We had Twilight Zone last night. What's that from? You know what that's from?
That's something
no.
I'm sure...
Don't tell. Lower the air conditioner. What's going on here? Dick Berggren. Call security. Jeff. Hey, whoa. That feels pretty good. Hey, Jeff Hammond, where are you? Where is Wonder Boy? He...
Finally, with the third time being the charm, the 2001 Winston got underway officially just before midnight Eastern, and the opening 30-lap segment began. The backup cars were sluggish out of the gate to no one's surprise, but about 15 laps in, Jeff Gordon started clawing his way forward. It was clear he was no slouch in the backup car. Harvick's fortunes weren't so good, however, and the brakes locked up, stranding him on pit road. With Jeremy Mayfield winning the first segment, the field would be inverted from the top 12 and pit stops would take place. In segment 2, the underdog cars from the open would start shining, much to everyone's surprise. But Johnny Benson would be overtaken late in the stage, and it became the Stewart and Gordon show. Stewart would keep Gordon at bay, taking the 50 grand, but it all came down to the featured 10-lap shootout with no one knowing what to expect. It could have been a repeat of the first attempted start of the race for all we knew, but with Ward Burton electing 2 tires, it put the hard-charging Gordon on the outside front row, giving him the stage to take off.
At this time, Ward Burton brings them down, and we're back under green for 10 laps.
And guess who's going to take the lead coming off turn 2? More than likely.
Look at the run there. Jeff Gordon on the high side. Dale Jarrett wanted to go up there. Jeff Gordon shut the door on him here off turn 2.
I tell you what, that was some good driving on both their parts because Gordo closed the door on him. And man, he sailed it off in there. Woohoo! And then he sailed her off in there and got back in her. And here he comes. Boogity, boogity up on the outside.
Show me the money.
Adios. My old backup car is a lot better than anybody else's regular old car.
Jeff Gordon trying to become the second 3-time winner of the Winston.
Joining Dale Earnhardt in leading the league in that category. 95 when he led all 3 segments, 97 and 2001. Jeff Gordon is again a champion of NASCAR's All-Star Night.
And he told us, wouldn't it be a story? And we got our story, that's for sure.
This improbable storyline came to fruition, and Gordon took home the $500,000 while on his way to his 4th championship. What I love about this race is that there was no giving up from anyone. The fans, NASCAR, the teams, they all wanted this to happen that night, and they didn't lose an ounce of spirit. The sheer determination by those 4 victims of a wet track when there wasn't even points on the line showed the passion and pride they all took to put on a show for the deserving fans that waited out the rain, and they delivered. It wasn't the most explosive race, but it also wasn't a snooze fest. There were lead changes, close racing, and underdogs in the mix. It went well into the overnight hours in the Queen City, but you wouldn't even tell it by how much organic energy was spreading. Unfortunately, the All-Star race doesn't have the same vibes to it anymore, and it seems to be on life support. It's not really anyone's fault, it's just how society and the sport has adapted over time. This was just a byproduct of the erupting nature of the sport in that time period, and its lifespan appears to be coming to an end. Maybe someday, someone will have a bright idea to save it and bring back the magic it had for 20 years. I really think a lot of factors have to come together to rejuvenate the event, and we're a long way from it. Either way, we can always look back and cherish nights like this. Well, that's all from me this time, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe like your life depends on it. This has been a Platinum Paradise video.